NXT War Games kicked off at the WWE Performance Centre, and first up on the card was the Women's War Games match. Later in the night we saw a hair match between Grimes and Hudson, a men's War Game match, as well as several other matches. So yeah, it was a packed show for NXT 2.0's first ever pay-per-view, so let's get straight into it with that women's match. Ray and Kai kicked off the match, and Kaylee Ray had the early advantage with a big toss before Kai had Kaylee Ray on the ropes between the two rings, but Ray fought off before Dakota got a baseball back, and Ray hit a dive on Kai before attacking her with a stick. A bunch of kendo sticks were set up and they were dropped before Cora Jade was in after the counter went to zero, and she headed into the ring with her skateboard, and Kai was caught in the corner, outnumbered by Ray and Jade. Kai then took some double team moves but managed to up the reverse into the DDT. Next up was Jolyn, and she got a trash can and used it to her advantage before Jade and Kaylee Ray were back in control before Cora put a trash can on Dolan's head and hit dropkick. Shirai was next in and went for a couple of steel chairs and took a big boot as she was sent into the wall by Dolan before Jade hit a botchy Hurricane Rana on Kai between the two rings. JC Jane was next and she got the table in. Team Shirai was in trouble and were being tossed around before Shirai set up Kai, Dolan and Jane in the corner and hit knee strikes with the help of a trash bin. Jade then looked her as she clutched her shoulder, and Shirai refused to let the medical team in before putting Cora's possibly dislocated shoulder in a move. Gonzalez was next in, but Team Toxic tried to keep the door closed to not let her in. Gonzalez sprayed them with a fire extinguisher before packing up and went straight after Kai and was definitely in control. Shirai was then on top of the cage as Raquel put Kai in the garbage can once again. Mandy Rose was next in and took Gonzalez down. The two teams were in either ring. The chaos truly began with power bombs everywhere, but Rose hit her with a head and kendo stick, and Jade was back in the fight and used a kendo stick to her advantage. Jade then took a kick and went down but managed to kick out. Gonzalez hit the Shikanoga bomb and Jane before she and Gigi took the pin. Jade got the pin on Jane to pick up the win for the baby faces. Yeah, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. This was a really fun match to kick off the show. I was worried about there may be some botches. I mean, like, there were some, but on the whole it went perfectly fine, and yeah, for me it was the right result. And yeah, it's a really fun match to kick off the show, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. We got short promos from Boa, Briggs and Jensen and Tiffany Stratton as the War Games continued. Team Black and Gold were backstage, and Ciampa said that this was Gargano's moment to shine. DIY scenes before we got Imperium versus O'Reilly and Wagner. Bartel and O'Reilly kicked off the match before Eichner and Wagner were in the ring, and Von got a near fall off a side slam before O'Reilly locked in a guillotine on Eichner, but he reversed it with the help of Bartel. Wagner was sent outside and Eichner hit a drive on him before O'Reilly got a brainbuster in the ring for a near fall. O'Reilly locked in a submission, but Bartel got the tag and hit the Imperium bomb to pick up the W. After the match, Wagner tried to attack O'Reilly, but he turned it around, hitting him with a big move, taking his partner out. Yeah, I don't really know where this is going, to be honest. It was very strange. I guess Von Wagner saw the heel, but I just guess we'll see where it goes. But on the whole, this was fine, 7 out of 10. Before backstage, Santos Escobar said that Zion Quinn was making a big mistake by messing with Legado del Fantasma, and he will prove on Tuesday. Before we got the hair match, Grimes was sent into the steel ring steps early on as the match continued before Grimes took a slam in a corner and managed to come back with a near fall for reversal before Duke continued his onslaught. Grimes then hit a huge poison rana on Duke before nearly being pinned with a crossbody. Hudson tried for his finisher, but Grimes reversed it and rolled him up with a handful of the tights to pick up the win. Hudson tried to run away, however, Duke took out Grimes and put him in the barber's chair. Grimes fought back and managed to get Hudson in the chair before shaving his hair off. I mean, I really wanted Grimes to lose this one, but you know, it is what it is. The match was quite quick. I mean, there was a bit of storyline to it, but on the whole, did it feel pay-per-view worthy? Not really, so I'll give it 6 out of 10. We then got a promo for New Year's Eve as War Games continued. Team NXT 2.0 was then preparing for the main event as we headed for Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy. Gacy backed off into the corner as the match began and tried to talk to Roderick before going for a hug, but he slapped Strong. Gacy was taken down as Roddy unloaded on him, but came back with tackles and kicks. Gacy sent Roderick out next to the Diamond Mine. Ivan Nile then got in Kyle's face and Harlan lifted her up. Gacy let him put Nile down before the match continued, and Gacy got a big counter and hit Roddy with a tilt-away powerbomb before Roderick hit the end of Heartache to pick up the win. Yeah, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Decent match, good for Roddy to get a win. I mean, Gacy, it's a couple of big losses on the trot now, so really he needs a big win, but on the whole, This was fine, just need to see where it goes next. Before Ikemanjiro ate a huge meal and had to go to the bathroom, and yeah, that was a whole promo, I don't know what to say. Before Kyle O'Reilly challenged Von Wagner to a match on NXT. I don't know if this is maybe Kyle O'Reilly's farewell, but we shall see. But then it was time for the main event. Carmelo and Gargano kicked off the men's match, and they countered each other's moves early on before Gargano put Melo in the corner and hit some strikes between the two rings. Melo was then caught on top of the ropes and on the cage, and Gargano slammed his head into the steel before Melo recovered and joined Waller, but Gargano dodged a double kick. Trick Williams then tossed the steel chair inside the cage and started climbing from the outside, but Gargano hit him with a chair before Pete Dunne was in next and saved Gargano from the beating he was taking in the ring. Dunne put Waller's fingers in the steel cage wall and locked in a hold before joining Gargano in an innovative double submission while kicking their opponents in the face at the same time. Tony D'Angelo was next in and continued with the help of Trick Williams. There's Loomis appeared from under the ring and chased off Williams while D'Angelo was chained to the cane door. T.O were dominating and LA Knight was struck on the outside before climbing up the cage wall and attacking Grayson Waller. Knight evened the odds and got a neckbreaker on Waller before dropping D'Angelo. Knight then hit Waller with a kendo stick and put a trash can on his head before Gargano and Dunne kicked the can over. Dunne then used the can with a kendo stick to attack Waller's fingers and his ear for some reason. Bron Breakker went in next and used bolt cutters to break his way into the cage with some trouble. Breakker took out Dunne and Gargano before getting a huge slam on Knight. Ciampa was in the ring after a big sequence from the champ. Melo managed to take him out. Gargano came behind them and with a crutch and attacked Melo before handing Ciampa the weapon. 2.0 were back on top yet again, and D'Angelo and Breakker were stomping on their opponents while Waller hit them with a trash can lid. Team Black and Gold made their comeback and sent 2.0 into the steel before Dunne set up a huge trash can on the ropes and Gargano sent Melo face first into it. Ciampa was about to put Waller through a table, but D'Angelo was hit him with a trash can lid. Knight ran up and sent Waller through the table with a massive suplex. Knight nearly pinned him, but was taking a beating from Breakker. The next thing you know, Ciampa lifted Breakker, however, onto the middle rope and hit him with a big suplex. Waller put LA Knight through a table before Dunne broke up the pin on Knight. D'Angelo came up with a crowbar but was taken down by Dunne, and D'Angelo then hit Dunne with a crowbar in return before Gargano came back in and he hit Gargano with a low blow. Possible heel turn before Ciampa took a spear through the table from Breakker. Braun got his finisher and picked up the win. Yeah, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It's the perfect storyline really with Breakker picking up the win. Perfect goodbye for Johnny, probably, with DIY kind of having that little moment. But on the whole, this was really fun and definitely the right result, so I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Overall, War Games gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, really enjoyed the first pay-per-view of the 2.0 era. Lots happening, lots of decent matches. The two War Games matches were exemplary, and then the match in the middle card, they were pretty okay. There were some bits that were questionable about it, which is why I'm not going to give it as higher than a 7 out of 10. Still some stuff to work on, but for the first 2.0 pay-per-view, it's perfectly solid. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.